Hey, welcome to American Reversion. I'm Steve Smith. This is where we talk about what's wrong with our country and what we think we can do about it to get it back to where we think it ought to be. Well, many of you, if not most of you, have heard by now that the Supreme Court came down with their rulings regarding the vax mandate. They split it. Uh, they have stood against the OSHA mandate, which uh, of course required the vaccination or testing for the employees of all companies employing over 100 employees. What an arbitrary number that is, and that was one of the reasons the Supremes knocked it down. Uh, so that's gone away with. Hopefully, they'll probably try to take another shot at it, but this shows the effectiveness of pushback, and we want to understand the importance of pushback. Again, like I've said before, there are far too many people out there who have thrown up their hands and sworn off of politics and say politics don't matter and I'm out of it. Well, this shows that politics do matter. People being involved in the system, whether it's voting, whether it's just being loud and making their opinions known, it matters. And if you're not a part of the pushback, you are enabling the oppressor. There's an old saying that silence always helps the oppressor, never the oppressed. So if you are just have taken yourself out of the fight, you're helping the oppressor. And if that makes you mad, I'm sorry, but it's the truth. You might want to take a look at yourself and come back and join us because it can work and you can help. The other part of it, and here's where the problem lies, and this is the ruination of healthcare delivery right now. They upheld by a 5-4 margin because Kavanaugh and Roberts went over to the three liberal sides and voted with them. They upheld the CMS mandate. And what that is, that's the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, something like that. I think that's right. They are the ones who pay the bills. Hospitals, all healthcare, they can't stay open if they don't accept Medicare and Medicaid. That's where they get so much of their money. And so this was what the administration used to put the lock on healthcare workers. And it was upheld by the Supreme Court that healthcare workers will have to be either vaccinated, and I'm not sure whether this is still going to allow testing or not. To be honest, I didn't read the entire opinion. I'm going off of the headlines in the first couple of paragraphs that I've read, but that really doesn't matter because so many of the people who are against the vaccinations are also against testing because it's discriminatory. It's targeting. There are all sorts of reasons, but as many of you know, Kelly and I are separated from our healthcare system where we worked for a long time because of our refusal to take the jab and or do any kind of testing, and we have made our opinion very well known to the entire system, as have others. Well, what's happened here is that a lot of the healthcare employees have left those healthcare systems, hospital and healthcare systems, that required the vaccination, even during this back and forth, waiting for the Supreme Court decision. And there were other healthcare systems and hospitals that, and I don't know what the difference is. Some people, who knows? It's all hospitals. But they had left those hospitals that had required the jab and gone to work for ones who didn't, and hoping that this CMS mandate would be overturned. Now that it has been upheld because of the three liberal justices on the Supreme Court, one of whom has shown that she was only marginally smarter than a rock. If that, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that she did. She was able to speak. So, um, and those three, and Kavanaugh and Roberts. Now that they've upheld that, all of these people who went over to the healthcare systems that were not requiring it, waiting on this system, they're going to be required to have it. Well, here's the thing. Most of those people were the top healthcare providers in their systems. Now, what I mean by that, they weren't necessarily the doctors. The doctors are locked in. The doctors are locked in by their groups and by the AMA. If they speak out against anything that's the official opinion, they stand to lose their licenses. And these guys make big money. And you can talk all you want about standing up for principle. Hi, sweetie. I'm making a video. I'll be right with you. You can say what you want about principles and standing up for principles and all that. And I don't argue with that. But I will say that standing up for principles when you stand to lose $80,000, $100,000 a year, 50, 30, whatever. These guys are standing to lose, jobs a lot more than that. A lot more than that. And many of them have been so consumed in their careers that they haven't paid attention to the politics. I know so many physicians who, although they're smart people, they know very little outside of their particular field. I mean, they might have a hobby or something like that, that they know a lot about. But you would be surprised how little they know about history, about the government, about our country, about world politics, about what's going on in the world outside of their bubble. The ones that the healthcare system are going to be losing now are the ones that those systems who required it have already lost, and that are the top nurses, the ICU nurses, the ER nurses, the CRNs. I always forget what that means. I have many of my good friends are CRNs, critical resource nurses. I think these are the people who are at that top level of delivering healthcare when you need it the most. And these people are so disgusted by what has been going on in the healthcare system. They've left the places who were hardcore on these mandates. They've found places to work that didn't force them to do things they didn't want to do. But now that this has come down, more of these people than not, and they've told me personally, they are looking to leave healthcare entirely. And there's a lot of jobs out there available for them, probably, and I know a lot of people are looking for them. This is kind of what I warned about some time ago over on integrative preparedness, and that was, as this goes through, we're going to be losing the cream of the crop of the nursing ranks. And the nurses are the ones who provide the care. The doctor will come in and he'll read what the nurses have written down, and he'll ask you a couple of things, and then he will say what drugs he wants you to take for a while. And that's simplistic. I mean, I know a number of physicians, and they're not, they're not stupid, even if they are of limited interest. But too many of them have fallen prey to that, hey, write a script. If it's not a script or a slice and you open, we don't know what to do about it. And I could, there are reasons for that. And I realize a lot of it is defensive medicine and whatever. This isn't the time to discuss that. But here's the thing. Healthcare is about to change for the worse and for a long time. Whether it changes for good or not, I don't know. But how often does something really go bad and then get all the way better again? You usually will take a bunch of steps back and then take a couple of steps forward, right? We always end up farther back than we were before, and I think that's what's going to happen here. So this would be a good time to develop alternative methods of healthcare. Develop your contacts. Learn how to take care of yourself. All those little boo-boos and things, that that a lot of people run to the ER, but probably not most of you. You don't do that, but there are a lot of people. The hospitals now are going to be dealing with their lower and lower capability staffs. Okay, even before I left the hospital where I was with, and I'm not ready. I'm not done with the whole process yet. I haven't received my final firing papers by registered mail, so I'm not identifying the system yet. I will when it's all over. Even when before I left the 1st of November, how do I say this? There were a lot of foreign nurses coming in. They were bringing a lot of nurses in from India and Africa. There were far too many instances where I saw that the patients were unable to understand what the nurse was saying, simply because they weren't speaking English correctly, and the nurse wasn't able to understand what the patient. Now, I mean, for crying out loud, is there something more important than communications in healthcare? Is especially when you're dealing with an ICU or an ER. And there were times that I personally saw nurses from different areas of the world. Not only could other people not understand them, they couldn't understand each other. That's dangerous. That is a danger for anybody going into healthcare. So SCOTUS just put, if it's not the final nail in the coffin of modern healthcare, it'll do till the final one gets there, as they say. But it has changed. It's changed drastically. I would suggest you do what you can to, up your. I'll be talking about this over on Integrative Preparedness a little bit more, but learn how to take care of yourself to the greatest extent that you can. If you have relationships with healthcare providers, you might want to tighten up those relationships. See what you can. What you can do as far as outside the systems, because you're going to need it. I think we're headed towards a Soviet-style healthcare delivery system, and all at the hand of our current administration and those people who have gone along with it. And make no mistake. And here's where we need to talk to our friends and our neighbors and our families. Those people who did not stand up against this stuff assisted the ones who got this in place. So they are not off the hook. It's time for us to keep fighting back, up our game, express ourselves, take the truth out there, take the truth to people. They're going to start seeing the truth. Although I've seen a lot of people already in their own families, they've seen truth and they refuse to recognize it. We know that, right? Okay. Well, anyway, that was all I wanted to say today. The Supreme Court has hammered healthcare. It's going to ruin. It's going to take it to a point that if it ever comes back to where it was a year or two ago, it'll take many years to come back. So you all take care of yourselves. Remember that America needs a reversion, and it needs you to be a part of it. It needs you to know what's going on. It needs you to understand this, and it needs you to take this message out and share it. So thank you for being with us today. Please like, subscribe, share this video with other people. Thank you for all. I've seen so many more people join here in just the last few days. Thank you for joining, and I hope you'll share it with your friends and acquaintances. So I'll probably be back to talk to you tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye-bye.